What's going on, lovely people? How are you? Welcome into the show. We're here with Fred and Dre. This is the Flea Flicker Show. What's going on, Fred and fellow flea bags?
Yeah, thanks for asking there, Dre. It's been a pretty good week for me so far. I mean, Texas got the W, Eagles got the W. What more can I ask for? Good week of football and a lot better than last week for both of us, and really hoping for more improvement here on the following week for it. How about you?
Yeah, you caught up by
How was your
one
weekend?
win to me, so
I did. It was
yeah, my
pretty good
weekend
though.
was solid.
I swept my fantasy leagues, so love to see it. Love to see it, and um, ready to talk some football news here with you. But yeah, so kind of jumping into a little bit
Yeah, me
here.
too.
Uh, a debate that I've seen coming up as an Eagles fan: the tush push. What's your take on that? Do you think the tush push is good for football? Do you think it's not? What's your idea?
Yeah, the tush push, I don't know. It's like it's up and down. The Eagles are very good at using it, and pretty much every other team that's used it so far has struggled and or just flat out failed. So I don't know. I kind of hate the Eagles, so I'm iffy on it. But I don't know. It's a
So
decent
the
play for
Eagles,
them, but I just feel like it's kind of not fair for the rest of the league.
to kind of help them out a little bit there, I guess, in the argument, they're the only one that can execute it. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I guess it's a product of him. Dude squats 600 pounds, so I mean, like no other quarterback's coming close to that. But him behind that offensive line, they seem to be the only ones that can do it. I know week one, I think four teams tried it and were over four, and last year Gardner Minshew was 1 for 3. So it's not something that everyone can do. It's just no one can stop it, and it's boring. It is boring, but um, a little bit of a biased viewpoint, but it's like a pure football move. It's just a bunch of
Yeah.
guys just going right at each other, helmet to helmet, and trying to move the pile like a rugby scrum. What about the Kelsey Swift action? Like that's in the news here. So Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, rumored to be the new hot couple. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
I
Jason
like it.
Kelsey talked about it a little bit, and yeah, no, I like it too. It's kind of like a perfect couple. Kelsey's like kind of ridiculous in NFL standards, and Taylor Swift is always huge and has her massive fan base. I can't wait for Kelsey to have like a touchdown celebration, T Swizzle style.
Oh yeah, I mean he was already twerking pregame the other night and pretending like he was nursing an injury and popped out with a little bit of a twerk action. So might be rubbing off a little bit on
Yeah,
him already. But um,
yeah, scaring fantasy
I mean I know
managers everywhere.
The Philly loyals will yeah, right. The Philly loyals like it. I mean she's from the Philadelphia area herself, and um, everyone in Philly loves the Kelsey family, and I'm for it. I think it's fun. I don't know what their nickname's going to be. I don't know if it's uh, trailer or
Trailer?
what it might be.
That's
Trailer, yeah,
terrible.
trailer, trailer, quift. I don't know. It's not really. It doesn't have a good ring to it. Nothing really there does. I don't know if they can actually have a celebrity couple name. But speaking of Kelsey, they got that new Kelsey doc out too. I think it's #1 on Amazon right now, and I'm for one wanting to watch it. I haven't yet, but um, I think it's
Yeah,
supposed to be really good.
yeah, I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet either. It probably is going to be real entertaining, so I'll probably get around to it at some point. But I got a few things on my list right now. Still, I want to watch that Johnny
Yeah,
Manziel Untold doc.
that's pretty damn good. Johnny Manziel was a disaster. The dude lived it up though. The dude had fun. Dude was crushing it at Texas A&M and literally lived life like he was from Blue Mountain State and just partying every single night, showing up hungover to games, to practices, and the coaching staff
It's
there was just like,
ridiculous.
all right, well he's winning for us, so let's just let it slide.
The ultimate frat
But
bro.
ultimate frat bro, you just put a jersey on him and let him play football. That's just what he was. Um, a topic that I have a lot of interest in is Travis Hunter. So like Colorado's taking the NCAA world by storm, and Travis Hunter is their two-way star. He was a top recruit out of high school and one of the best in the country. But being on both sides of the ball, you haven't really seen anyone do it except for maybe Vrabel as tight end and linebacker, and Chuck Betternick back in like the 50s and early 60s as a linebacker and center. But would be
Yeah.
interesting to see if he can do it. I mean, Dion couldn't successfully do it for his career, so I don't imagine that Hunter would be able to for wide receiver and corner.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Hunter can do that in the NFL. I don't know if the NFL would want him to, because with all the strong, powerful dudes are in the NFL already. It just gives it that much more potential to get injured if you're playing on both sides, like 100% of the game. So I don't know if they would do that. He might just be a
Yeah, it's
corner in
tough.
the NFL, but I mean, every once in a while, who knows? He might get thrown in at receiver.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I can definitely see them just throwing him in for special play packages. I mean, the Eagles did it with Brian Dawkins back in the day. They would throw him in an occasional special packages where he would line up as a receiver, and he wasn't too bad at it just for like an occasional throw in. But I, I I don't care who you are. I don't think you're gonna have the longevity and the stamina to keep up in both positions, and both of them are so high demanding on you. So um, that'd be really really tough. But I mean, it happened in baseball with Shohei Ohtani. People had doubts. Baseball is a different sport, obviously, but he was successful at it at a record pace, and the problem was injuries. It was health, and it was his arm health to getting multiple Tommy John surgery here now with his torn UCL. So uh, you got to imagine though that Travis Hunter wouldn't be able to stay healthy if he did try to play both positions.
All right, yeah. So let's get into the games. There were a lot of good games this week. Actually, a couple went into overtime. Some good prime time games. Just a lot of fun in general. But let's head up to the Thursday night game first with your team. The Vikings headed into Philly, and they lost. Philly took it 34-28. Your team. What do you think about this one? Or do you want me to hit the injuries first?
Yeah, go ahead with the injuries. There's quite a few that you can list off
Yeah,
there, and
there were quite a few
um,
coming into the game.
yeah, going into the
So
game, we got banged up even more.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, the Vikings, they were missing their center, Bradbury, and they were also missing Darisaw, so their O line took a little bit of a hit. And then for Philly, they had quite a few injuries. James Bradbury on the outside. You got Gainwell, the running back, didn't make it to this game. Blankenship and Maddox, and then was it N'Kobe Dean too, I believe. So they had quite a few injuries there. What can you tell me
Yeah,
about
and
them?
the injuries on defense especially showed we're able to stop the run, but that's because we have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, who as a rookie is absolute monster. He's third in QB pressures this year, and crazy thing is he's only had like 68 snaps defensively compared to the top two guys of Micah Parsons and um, Hutchinson for the Lions. So uh, being third there with that little of snap usage is huge. But the secondary took it. Avonte Maddox came out. Bradbury wasn't there. Blankenship was out for safety. So those are three of the leaders on our defense. And N'Kobe Dean being his second year, having to man the middle there and be the off ball linebacker, that was huge as well. And um, I do think that they promoted Cunningham that game and replaced a Dean. I think they're going to go out and get a veteran to come in for Maddox spot, and even get a safety as well. There's talks about them going after Buda Baker. Uh,
Hmm.
that might pay dividends there for them because they did try Bradbury out in the slot, and we do have better depth at the end course than we do on the slot. So I think that might be a good route to go. But I do ultimately think they're going to bring in a veteran in the slot role, and the Eagles' success this year really rides on whether they can stay healthy. The offense is gonna chip up. It's gonna come into form. It's a new coordinator there, a new person calling plays, and the offense hadn't done anything during training camp together. They didn't get any reps as starters in live action, so I think it's going to come around. It's just going to take a little bit, and really, can we get past the injury issues?
Yeah, all those injuries definitely affected them this game, but they still came out with the win. Prime Kirk showed up,
Yeah.
364 yards and 4 touchdowns for him. But yeah, the
He
Eagles
did show up. He should have had another TD too. Jefferson dropped one in the first half, but they had their turnovers. The Eagles should have capitalized on those, and they could have had a big lead early if they did capitalize. But they still ended up getting the win nonetheless. But yeah, Prime Kirk ended up being the top quarterback this week. He showed up. He usually doesn't, and he beat that narrative.
Yeah, their passing game was on point, possibly because of all the Philly injuries back there. But yeah, Jefferson, Addison had some big plays. T.J. Hawkinson was doing work. They just their running game was stopped in their tracks by Philly's run defense. But yeah,
Philly, and on the opposite end, you have Philly, who was out. Gainwell wasn't there, but didn't beat with Swift. Swift was actually arguably more productive with 107 plus yards there. So that was the best game that a Philly running backs had since McCoy in, I think, like 2011. So definitely some positive signs there.
Yeah, and Devontae Smith showed that he's no slouch as their number 2. He went off for 131 yards, touchdown. Yeah, but I still think they do have to do better if they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in when it comes playoff times.
I agree. The defense right now doesn't look like they could stop somebody like the Dolphins. If they went up against the Dolphins, Tyreek and Waddle would likely run all day. Our best hope there would be to get pressure to it, but and we'll always generate pressure, but without a healthy secondary, there's so much that the pressure can do.
Yeah, for sure. Let's push though. We're gonna head to Tennessee. The Chargers came in, and it was a really good game. The Titans ended up taking it in overtime, 27-24. The Titans' defense looks pretty good. The rest of the team kind of questionable, but they still scored 27 points. Tannehill actually looked pretty decent this game. He was 20 for 24 passing. That's pretty solid for him. Derrick Henry looked pretty solid out there against the Chargers pass rush. He had a touchdown out there, and Tannehill finally got together with Traylon Burks for a big 70-yard play. But yeah, their line keeps giving them problems. The Chargers, on the other hand, they just keep charging. It's been a problem for years now, before even this head coach was here. So I don't know what to say about them. What can you tell me about the Chargers? Because I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean the offense, it looks good. Herbert looks good. The passing game looks good, but without Eckler there, they're a shell of what they could be. That versatility adds so much to their offensive game, and they can blow a lot of teams off the field if they have Eckler out there. There's just so much that you have to account for without him there. Without Eckler, the Chargers offense is to be a shell of what it could be. His versatility is huge, and he's somebody that teams have to account for and they have to game plan for. So Josh Kelly proved that he can't get it done by himself, and he's not the person that Eckler is in that offense. He's not the threat.
Yeah, that's for sure. Keenan Allen looked really good with Herbert. They still have a big connection. He went for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Herbert threw for 300 yards. And he had a nice 2-point conversion to the tackled Pipkins. That was fun. But yeah. Chargers have to do better. They got to stop charging. Let's push though. Let's move to Detroit. So we got the Seahawks went into Detroit. Another game that went to overtime. This one was a shootout. The Seahawks though, they came out with the win and a 37-31 thriller. What do you? The injuries. Yeah. Cross and Adams were out for the Seahawks. The Lions, they had Decker out. So the Lions kind of had some secondary and some tackle issues, and they had quite a few injuries in the game as well. The game started out nice though. Before the game, Barry Sanders' statue came up. That was a nice little moment. Um, but yeah, some brutal injuries for the Lions. St. Brown, he got hurt during the game. It looks like he'll be okay. Montgomery hurt his knee. He's probably going to miss the next one. Big V on the O line went down. James Houston broke his ankle, and the corner Gardner Johnson tore his pec. A lot of tough stuff for him. But yeah, offense looked pretty good out there for the Lions. Jared Goff looked good again, threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 pick in there, but he looked good. He was finding St. Brown all over the place. He had over 100.
Josh
The
Reynolds
Lions
looked
looked. Yeah, Josh Reynolds. He looks like a solid number 2. I think.
good.
I don't think he started at number 2, but he looks like he's the guy now. He's got 2 touchdowns, and they had a nice little flea flicker touchdown in there too. But they got to get Gibbs going. That's a big thing for the Lions, especially since he's going to be probably the starter for the next game the whole
Yeah, I
time.
mean, with Montgomery out, you got to imagine he's going to be the starter behind that line, and he's such a versatile weapon out there that they really have to capitalize on what he can bring to their offense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Jared Goff also ended his no pick streak with a pick 6. He was closing in on it. He only had Tom Brady and the owner of the record in front of him. Who is it? Rodgers or something? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Is it Manning?
I don't think it. Maybe it was Manning
Peyton?
in that really nice year he had. But either way, Goff is
Either
not
way,
going
Tom
to be the
Brady's
guy.
at the top. So, and by a lot, Tom Brady's number 1 standing there is like way in front. But yeah,
With the no
he's
picks.
somebody that kind of like you're easy looking past him as a top quarterback in the league, but keep in mind he took the Rams to the Super Bowl, and he's been a consistently good quarterback in this league. He's not exciting by any means. He doesn't run. He doesn't give you any no look passes like Mahomes might, but he gets the job done, and he puts up decent numbers. He's kind of like Kirk Cousins in that way, where like they can put up numbers, but they're so boring in terms of what you're watching on the field, but they produce.
Yeah, definitely produces. So the Lions are hoping he can bring them to playoff glory as well. For the Seahawks, though, DK went down with a rib injury, so that's one to watch for the next game. But the Seahawks looked really good out there. Last week they were a little disappointing, so this was a nice little comeback game for them. They scored the 37 points. Gino looked pretty solid in this one. Tyler Lockett was really clutch for him, though. He had 2 touchdowns, including the overtime game winner, which had a possible hold on it that Lions fans probably aren't happy about, but it counted. So
yeah.
And
this is a fun game. Fun game. The running game leaves a little bit to be desired compared to last year and years past, where they would put up 100+ yards regardless of who was running the ball. But it did show positive improvement this past game.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll is a spry 70s plus man. He's looking crazy on the sidelines.
It's all the gum chewing. I think I might just pick it up and start chewing gum nonstop throughout the day, because it seems to just keep him wired.
Yeah, I thought he was on the verge of retiring, but he looks like he's still young out there and enjoying it. But let's go ahead and push to the Cincinnati Bengals game. The Ravens came to town, and I thought this was going to be a Bengals like comeback game from last week, but they still looked rough out there. The Ravens took it 27-24, and that's with missing a lot of people on the Ravens. They didn't have Humphrey, Linderbaum, Stanley, and then Williams. Their secondary and O-line were missing quite a few starters back there. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. What do you think? The Bengals are scaring me.
Yeah, they're pretty scary at the moment, especially since Jamar Chase just is not really involved. I mean, T. Higgins had a really good game, but outside of him, there wasn't much there. Mixon's a huge talent, but he hasn't gotten going. Burrow looks to be struggling still after getting paid. And I mean, you see that a lot. People get paid and then they kind of fall off a little bit, but hopefully they can rebound. And This is the like arguably the last chance for them. I mean, Boyd's going to be a free agent. Higgins is going to be a free agent. There's a lot of question marks with Mixon's future because of legal reasons. So uh, this might be their last run with that core together, and they got to shape it up. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, one thing to note is Joe Burrow is playing injured. He was seen limping after the game, and he is currently a question mark for the next game, which would be a big. Well, you would think it would be a big hurt for the Bengals, but he's been playing poorly, so I don't know. Can Jake Browning do better if he goes in? I doubt it, but you never
Well,
know.
maybe Jake Browning would stink it up, and then your boy Will Greer comes in, and
Oh, I hope so. Will
yeah,
Greer, West Virginia, baby.
yeah, dude's
He'd be nasty.
dude's a fun
I really
player.
want to see it. Dude, he's so good. He's very underrated. He looked amazing in the preseason. If he does play next game, like at all, I think he would show that he's like a guy that you can look for. But yeah, the Ravens on the other hand, Lamar, he did better than last week. He had 2 touchdowns. A lot of running as Lamar does. He just doesn't look like a top 10 quarterback to me though, even though he's paid like one. Um, and also, OBJ got hurt again. He's pretty injury prone still.
How about my guy
They
though,
like Flowers.
Nelson Aguilar, coming out of
Nelson
nowhere,
Aguilar.
out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like I didn't even
maybe
know he was on the roster, and then he put up a good outing, had
no,
6 targets. to be to
former
he is
Eagle. Yeah.
His ownership percentage is staggering in fantasy. He is owned in 0.05% of leagues, which is like what is that, like 2 leagues in all of fantasy?
Yeah, that's maybe it'll go up now after this.
Maybe we'll see. Especially if Odell's out, but um,
Yeah.
it looks like it's really just Zay
Gus Edwards.
Flowers in the run game.
Zay Flowers is doing like everything, dude.
Yeah, he
He's
looks
their
like he
guy.
might end up getting
Gus
like
Edwards
offensive
looked
rookie of
good.
the year or something there, because he's pretty
I could
solid for
see it.
them, and he's getting a lot of work.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. Gus Edwards looked pretty solid as the main running back. He had a touchdown. And AJ Green retired for the Bengals in the pregame, so that was another little bit of news there.
Legend.
But let's push to Houston. The Colts came to town and they took care of business. They won 31-20 in Houston. Houston was missing both of their starting safeties, Petrie and Ward, and Lermy Tunzel, their tackle, was also out in this one. CJ Stroud, he had a shoulder. I don't know. He had like a sore shoulder before the game. I think he's just got to get used to throwing so much in the NFL, but he was playing like I guess hurt. But yeah, this was a fun little rookie versus rookie action for a little bit until
Yeah.
Richardson, unfortunately, like Trevor Lawrence said, went down with an injury. What do you think about this one, man?
I liked this game a lot. Stroud, I have him in my dynasty league, and he looked solid. He looked very promising. It gave me a lot of hope for the future for him. And I mean, putting up 300 plus yards against any team is nothing to brush off. And the connection with him and Collins looks legit. The connection with him and Tank Dell looks legit. Now they have Mechie back
Tank
off
Dell.
of the IR, and can't forget about Xavier Hutchinson as well out of Iowa State. He's a good rookie too, so he might have 4 good receiver options there going forward. And because you got to imagine Woods isn't going to be there. He's not a long-term option, so you could see them trading him
Yeah.
and just using all 4 young guys there. And he's got decent weapons. The offensive line could use some work, but with behind that Patrick offensive line, he's still able to produce, and that's saying
Mm-hmm.
something. But Richardson, man, that guy's exciting. Starting off the game
Very
with
exciting.
two rushing touchdowns, and
Yep.
he looks legit as well. He looks like a vintage Cam in the
Yes, he
making,
does.
and the offense in general looks really good. Shane Steichen, he managed the Eagles offense last year. He previously managed the offense as the coordinator for the Chargers, and he's just got a mind for offense. And even when Gardner Minshew came in, Minshew looked like a stud back there. So that offense is legit. And Zach Moss proved that with Jonathan Taylor got out and Jonathan Taylor gone, he can handle the load. So you might see Taylor on the move now that they have a legit running back threat.
Yeah, I could see it. Richardson does look fun out there. Did you see his little lefty throw? He like
No.
couldn't toss it with his right, so he tossed it left-handed, like fucking, I don't know, Pat Mahomes style almost. Little just backyard football play. But yeah, he's got
Backyard
to be more
football is fun
careful.
play. Man, I wish they still made NFL Street. He'd be a fun player to have in there.
Oh my God, he'd be the best player in the league in Street.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
imagine like
fun little.
look back at how fun Michael Vick was. He's bigger.
Oh,
He'd be a lot more fun.
yeah. We'll see if Richardson can get in the next game. He's going through concussion protocol. We might see Minshew, which the Jets will be looking out for.
Minshew mania,
But the Colts
baby.
might not want to get rid of him. Colts might not want to get rid of him if
No,
Richardson is going to have injury problems.
he's a really good backup.
Yeah. Let's move to Tampa, though. This is like my little fun team when Tampa. I like Baker Mayfield. He's doing some work here. The Bears came into town, and the Bucks just showed the Bears that they are not what Bears fans wanted them to be this year. The Bucks took it 27-17. Little note for the Bears: the D coordinator Alan Williams wasn't here for the game. He had some personal issues at home. They also were missing Nate Davis on the O-line, and Carlton Davis missed the game in the backfield. So there were a few things there. But I don't know. Justin Fields for the Bears, he still just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there. Like, he can run, sure, but like he just looks confused when he's got to read the defense, really. What do you think about him, man?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, he's got a lot of talent, but he's right in that mold of Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, those guys who are runners, and don't get the perception of being a passer. People say they're running backs that can pass, and right now it looks like Fields is that guy. He hasn't taken the next step. He hasn't shown to have a good pocket presence and be able to carry an offense passing alone, even when he can't run. So you thought he might take the next step like Jalen Hurts did, but right now it's just not there. I'd love to see it
Yeah.
be there. He's an exciting player. He's got exciting players around him, and that offense could be really good. The offensive line just sucks, and
Yep.
Fields has not shown anything this year so far that you can have any confidence in.
Yeah, the Bears' entire run game, including Fields, was shut down by the Bucks defense in this one. Mooney got hurt. Hopefully he can play again next week. But I mean, at least Claypool did something in this game. People thought he might be off the team after last week, so that's interesting. But the Bears are kind of poop. I'm going to be honest about it right now. They're poop. The Bucks, though, I like the Bucks. Baker was running and gunning, threw for 317 yards and a tutty. He's like one of my guys this year. Like I said, Mike Evans and him have a great connection already. He had a 70-yard catch and finished with 171 yards and a touchdown. And then Godwin as the second guy, he's good too. The Bucks might actually be like decent this year, but we'll hold the brakes for now because they haven't played like a great team yet. But but we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. They're definitely better than I thought they would be. I thought they would be an absolute shit show, but Baker's coming in so far and he's looking pretty decent. We'll see if he can keep it up because he, like you said before, he is streaky.
Yeah.
So he could have a
Yep.
couple good games here and then a couple really bad games. So we'll see if he can keep it up. But with those receivers around him, especially the versatility that Rachaad White provides, he might not have to do too much in terms of just sustaining a decent trend here.
Yeah, good points. Good points. Let's move to Atlanta. This was a really exciting game down to the bell. The Falcons, they brought the Packers into town, and the Falcons showed them up. They won 25-24. Really close game, really fun game. I thought the Falcons came out really slow in the beginning. I was like screaming at Desmond Ridder to do something with the ball. But in the second half, he showed up and he proved that the Falcons have a guy that they think they can build around. I still don't personally trust him too much, but he did show that he's not afraid to make throws here and there. He has some weapons though. Bijan Robinson for one, he's like a beast. He hasn't done anything too crazy, but he's special.
Yeah, he had
I wish the Lions
170
got.
all-purpose yards this past game. So I mean,
Yes.
Bijan is elite. Like, um, I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, but I might buy some Falcons merch and get a Bijan jersey. You know,
Dude, I
he's
might get
so
a
much
Bijan
fun.
jersey too.
He's so much fun, and I think I might have to stock my fridge with some Bijan Dijon too. Uh, yeah,
Is
and
that a thing?
it is. He's got his own Dijon mustard. It's called
That's
Bijan's
hilarious.
Dijon.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
it was a thing while he was in college, and then now it's even bigger. He's got national commercials. So um, it's a kind of a tale of two options there for the Falcons. I mean, Bijan is going to be there. Increasingly giving more work for him compared to Algier and Ritter. Though he first half, tale of two halves, he looked absolutely terrible. I mean, I was messaging you saying, "What the fuck is he doing? He can't hit anything. His receivers are wide open. He's missing them by 5-7 feet, and he's not even close."
I was
Second
yelling
half
for them
though,
to
he
put
was
it
on point.
in the first
Yeah.
half.
I mean, second half though, he was on point. He was hitting Drake London. He was using Drake London, which he wasn't in the first. But
Yep.
one option here, I'd still stay away from for the Falcons, which their offense seems to be doing well with Matt Collins there as the number 2 as well. But I'd stay away from Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, despite his talent level, he should be so much more than he is, and he's just not being really used in the offense. And
He's
I tell you,
invisible out there.
if I'm a passing team that wants to utilize a tight end, I'd call the Falcons because they're not using him. Try to give them somebody that is a good blocker and take Pitts for his passing repertoire, but his receiving repertoire. Sorry, but give them somebody like a Jake Stoll that can just block, and that's their
Yeah.
main aspect.
Yeah. Arthur Smith had some ballsy play calling finally. I think he's getting a little hot seat back there. He was like, I got to do something, you know? But yeah, it was a fun little Falcons comeback in the end. But for the Packers, Jordan Love is quick. He had some moves out there. He got 3 touchdowns. I like Jordan Love a lot. He's leading the league in touchdowns right now with 6, 0 picks so far. So he could be a guy to look out for like the rest of the season, and not only in like fantasy, but also he could be like a Pro Bowler if he can keep it up. He was also missing Aaron Jones and Watson and Bakhtiari on the O-line. So that is without 2 of his main options and their best O-lineman, arguably.
One of the best O-linemen in the league.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, he was my number one like waiver option there on for the past 2 weeks. Because Jordan Love, I mean, I think he's going to be great this year after watching him in the first 2 games without, like you said, without Watson, without Jones. Those are 2 huge options for him, and he's using his number 2 and 3 receivers. That offense is only going to be better once those guys are healthy, and once he has better protection with Bakhtiari back, that's going to be huge for them, huge. And he also has, I think, the 3rd best strength of schedule going forward for quarterbacks. So
that always helps. Yeah. And the guy you mentioned in an earlier video, Reed, had 2 touchdowns in this game. And the other young guy, Wicks, also had a touchdown. So he's getting the young guys involved with Watson out. So that's good. Also a note, O-lineman Jenkins, he has an MCL injury and could be missing games. So the injuries on the O-line, they're kind of piling up for the Packers. Hopefully that's not something going forward, but that is something to look at for now. Let's move to Buffalo, though. This one, I don't know if we have to talk about it for too long. Buffalo really just took care of business. The Raiders came to town, and they beat them 38-10. The Raiders were missing Jacoby Myers, who went off last week, and then Chandler Jones still isn't showing up. Love you, Chandler. But I don't know. The Raiders, 607, baby. The Raiders, though, they look a little rough, and I think the Bills just showed why they're a good team because they take out the trash. Sorry, Raiders fans.
Yeah, our boy Josh won't be happy about that one. He's a big Raiders fan. He was actually at that Bills Raiders game, and I really wanted this to be the 607 kind of bowl there with Chandler Jones versus Daquan Jones for the Bills.
Yeah.
And Day he's actually 5th in terms of quarterback pressures for interior defensive linemen. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, he's a big man. He's a beast. And Chandler, there was a rumor that I just read today that the Eagles might be looking at trading
Oh
Derek
Jesus!
Barnett for Chandler Jones. That's just a straight swap.
Get out of here. I will be disgusted if that happens.
Hey, give more of a pass rush luxury there to Philly, right?
I
But
hope the
like you
Bills
said,
get him. Just have
I'd like him to be for the Bills. That'd be fun. Add him to their defense, and I'd like to see the Billies do well. They're a team that, being from New York, they're someone that you want to root for because they were pretty bad for so
yeah.
long. But good to see Josh Allen bounce back this week. Got Gabe Davis involved a lot, and um, hopefully that offense can keep improving going forward. And I think they can utilize Dalton Kincaid a lot more. They utilized James Cook past week, and Cook's a beast in himself. So I think he's gonna have a really solid
Mhm.
year. But yeah, they took care of business like they should have.
Yeah, one thing I did notice, Cook's got kind of got a couple touchdowns stolen from him from Latavius Murray and Damian Harris, who I didn't even realize were on the Bills. That was very unfortunate for fantasy owners everywhere.
Yeah, myself included in multiple leagues. I
Oh
have
yeah,
been huge on that guy, and yeah, a couple vulture touchdowns there.
yeah. The Raiders, though, they're just outclassed. Jimmy G threw 2 picks against the tough D. Josh Jacobs had negative yardage running, which is not
Mhm.
good. Um, yeah, it was just not good. Hopefully they can come back and do a little better next week. But I'm just gonna push. Let's go to Jacksonville. The Chiefs came to town. This was kind of a boring game, to be honest. The Chiefs took it 17-9. The Jags couldn't get much going. This was on Patty Mahomes' birthday game. He threw 305 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he had a fluky pick in there. But yeah, he got the dub on his birthday. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, this game was, like I said, it wasn't exciting. I thought there was going to be a lot more there for Jacksonville.
Yeah, me too.
Uh, they have a better offense than what was shown there. I mean, they have really good receivers, a good running back, and Dougie P's got a really good mind for calling plays
Mm-hmm.
there behind the helm. And Trevor Lawrence is a good QB. He should be pushing like top seven, at least top 10 this year, and be consistently there. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. This is a year where he could potentially reach into the upper echelon. But in
Yeah.
terms of the game itself, kind of stemming from the Raiders Bills game, there were a couple missed touchdowns there. Not vultured, but completely missed for Zay Jones. So Zay finished the day with 0 points, but he did have two touchdown catches that were called back because he didn't
Mm.
drag his feet in bounds. So he couldn't keep
Sad.
his feet. Kept one foot in, but not both. So it's not college. Got to keep both in. Yeah, so that game could have been a lot different if he was able to secure those two touchdown passes, and that's 14 extra points potentially. Extra points are given, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
sure.
much.
At least 12 points added to the Jags there, but it was a pretty boring game. Everyone was overall pretty silent on both sides of the ball, and uh, although you did see Jones making an immediate impact for the Chiefs. He played this week
Yeah.
after getting his deal and immediately made an impact. Had a turnover
Yeah.
on downs and for the against the Jags, and this might be a turnaround game for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chris Jones showed him why he deserves the money. The defense showed up. For the Jags, Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk did have pretty solid games. Kirk went for over 100 and Ridley had a couple big catches, but they just couldn't score. Um, yeah, let's just move from this one. There's not too much else to say about it. Let's go to the 4 p.m. games. Do I want to start? Yeah, let's start with the Rams. The Rams, they brought the 49ers came to town, and this was a very good game. I thought the Rams might have been creamed in this one, but they showed up to play. The 49ers did take it in the end, 30-23, but it was quite a surprise. The Rams, another surprise for them, actually. Cam Akers wasn't even active for the game. He was their starting running back in the first week, but it looks like Kyron Williams has completely taken that over, and they're looking to trade Cam Akers at this point. Maybe the Browns will come calling. I don't know. Probably not, but
Probably
yeah,
not.
Kyron Williams.
They Browns are agreeing to a deal with Kareem Hunt, so
Oh, they
1 year
are
deal
agreeing
with
to one
Kareem
now.
Hunt. Yep. So So for those of you that paid attention, I did say in our waiver wire ads to take a look at Kareem Hunt, owned in very low percentage of leagues, and would likely get signed by Cleveland with Nick Chubb being out. So he has the familiarity there with the team and with the offense, and he'll be there with Ford. Ford, a second-year player, is a little bit. You don't know what you're going to get from him, and good to see Kareem Hunt back in a role where he can do something. He's a good running back.
Yeah, so everyone pay attention to Fred's fantasies, all right? But Karen Williams,
Not
he took over.
At least about football, not necessarily all my fantasies. So
not all the fantasies. You don't want to get in there. They're a little scary. But yeah, Williams had 2 touchdowns. The Rams, they might be good.
They're exciting.
They don't care
at least. Like they're very fun.
Yeah, their O-line held up against the Niners too. I didn't think that was going to happen. Stafford, he looks good. He had a bad pick in the 4th to end his streak as well, but he threw for over 300 and a touchdown. Yeah, the Niners took it though. Ayuk got hurt in this game. That was upsetting. He might be missing some games. Hopefully not, but he might. McCaffrey, he looked really good out there. 116 yards and a tutty. He wants a ring this year. You can tell.
Oh yeah. McCaffrey looked phenomenal. CMC always looks phenomenal, but Purdy looks good. The 49ers were just better in all terms of the game, but
yeah,
the Rams
more talented
are very fun. They're very fun. They're a lot better than people thought they would be. Cooper Kupp wasn't even there. He's not back yet, and Puka Nacua looks fucking legit, dude. Dude had 15 receptions on 20 targets. Cooper Kupp never had that many targets. So Stafford has clearly some chemistry there, and he operates on the outside where Cooper Kupp runs a lot of his time in the slot. So we should be able to see a lot of Puka usage even when Kupp comes back.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. He broke the rookie receiving record with 147 yards today, and it wasn't the receiving record, it was the catches record, I think, right? Shoot, I didn't write it down, but he broke a record. I know that much. Yeah, he looks really good out there. Let's push to my possibly least favorite but favorite game of the week. I was like about to have a heart attack during this game. I think it was so crazy. But in Arizona, the Giants came to town. The Giants started off looking horrible in the first half. The Cardinals came up to a big lead, and the Giants could not do anything offensively, and they couldn't stop them defensively. I don't know what the heck happened at halftime. Brian Daboll must have gave him some sort of crazy speech, but after halftime, the Giants came out and looked like a completely different team. They went down the field. I don't think they punted a single time in the second half. And their defense stopped the Cardinals in their tracks in the second half as well. The Giants ended up taking it in a stunner, 31-28, with their biggest comeback in Giants history, which was exciting as hell. The Giants, Azeez Ojulari was out. Wan'Dale's still out. Andrew Thomas, that's a big one. The left tackle, he was out. Cardinals, they didn't have Budda Baker. But yeah, the Giants, let me tell you, their O-line and their pass rush is the entire reason why they've been doing bad. The O-line, Andrew Thomas got hurt week 1, left tackle, he was out. Their backup left tackle, Matt Pert, got hurt week 1, he was out. We had a backup guard playing at left tackle and starting, Josh Azudu, which was better than I thought it would be, to be honest. The O-line just has to do better, really. Glowinski looked terrible out there. We had a McKesson starting. It was bad. And then on the pass rush, Thibodeau is a ghost out there. He was supposed to have a breakout year this year, and he literally did not do anything in this game. I don't even know if he got a tackle. And that's very upsetting and something to look at for the season. And then Azeez remains injury prone. We had Hadi out there again. He cannot pass rush. So those are the 2 main flaws, I would say, with the Giants. The corner room, we have 2 rookies starting, and they're actually looking pretty solid. They just can't hold on for 2 solid minutes when the pass rush is doing nothing out there. And Leonard Williams isn't doing anything either. So those are some problems with the Giants. But overall, I think Daboll took over the play calling in the second half. That is not confirmed. He actually denied it, but I think he's lying. But I think that's part of the reason why they came back. And Daniel Jones actually looked solid in the second half as well. He found the rookie Hyatt for a couple big plays, and big play Slay came out to play also. Saquon Barkley was running with a purpose until one of the last plays of the game when he had a pretty bad looking ankle injury. He's actually questionable for the next game though, so he could still play. I don't know if he's gonna. It looked bad. I don't think he's gonna play. They kind of need him for next week, but
Yeah.
I don't know. The Cardinals, I've been talking a lot of poop about them, but they came to play in the first half, and they're clearly fighting for Jonathan Gannon. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the Giants can do better.
Yeah, it was definitely a game that I thought I was gonna have to cover this week because I thought it was going to be another one that you just didn't not want to talk about. But the Giants showed up in the second half, and to put up 31 points and a half is insane.
Yeah.
So the fact they were able to do that really should show a lot for the rest of the year and the foreseeable future. So.
Yeah, and that's putting up 31 points in the second half when last year we struggled to put up 30 points ever. So clearly there's talent on this team. They just have to find it and take hold of it. All right. Let's push because I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's go to Denver. The Commanders came into Denver with that high altitude game. They came to play. This was a really good game. They both scored over 30. The Commanders did end up taking it 35-33, but the Broncos were fighting them the whole time. The Broncos actually came out to a big lead early, and kind of like the Giants game, the Commanders came back to win this one. The Broncos were missing Frank Clark, and Dolchik, the tight end, went on IR, so that's tough. These teams were both supposed to be known for their defense this year, but both teams just got 30 points dropped on them. So what do you think the defenses are like fluky? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I just think like the Commanders especially, they're powered by their pass rush. And if the pass rush isn't there, their defense is not going to be what it can be. And the pass rush has struggled a little bit to start the year, but I mean, at least the offense looks really good for the Commanders. I mean, Sam Howell looks to be a legitimate potential quarterback for them. He's definitely progressing there, and he has weapons around him. He used Scary Terry this week. He's been pretty solid, and Brian Robinson for them looked.
Oh, he looked
really
nasty.
Good. Really good. He finished as the RB1 this week, and he looked really solid. A lot of his work was in that pass game. So utilizing everyone around him, Logan Thomas, Robinson, McLaurin, Dotson, everybody that was on the offense. And that really shows the maturity in a quarterback if they're able to spread the ball around and not just target one guy over and over.
Yeah, Sam Howell has two come from behind victories in 2 games now. Is he the new comeback king? I don't know. Antonio Gibson, he also had a little don't forget about me catch and run, but Brian Robinson has clearly taken over. The Commanders and Bieniemy, can they compete with the best? Because they look pretty good in this game. I don't know if they can compete with the best, though. Maybe. We'll see. They still have a lot of games to play.
Yeah, I don't know if they can compete with the best in their own division. So I don't know if they can compete with the Cowboys
and the
Eagles. So it's definitely a strong division, and hopefully the Giants showed last game that they're more of who they are in the second half than what they've shown the first game and a half previous to that. So, I mean, obviously I'd like to see the Eagles win, but I still want to see the rest of our division be competitive. I don't want to see it all be a shit show. So the worse the division is, the worse the rap on the Eagles is saying that they faced easy teams. So the harder it is, the better the narrative is coming out of it for whoever wins the division.
Yeah, and they have 3 2-0 teams right now, so they could be another division again that tries to have multiple teams in the playoffs, 3 teams in the playoffs. One last note: Russ looks a lot better with Sean Payton in 2 games into the season. He had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and a pick, but he looks like he's kind of getting back to where he used to be. Definitely not a young Russ, but he looks like he could be like an old Drew Brees style that Sean Payton used to have. All right, let's move to Dallas. The Jets came to town, and they thought they might be okay, but I know you wanted to talk about this one, so I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, so I mean Dallas dominated this game. But I mean, what did you expect? They were playing a Zach Wilson led Jets team. You know what you're going to get with Zach Wilson. So I want to say slow down for the 2023 Super Bowl champ Dallas Cowboys fans that are chanting this out there, because the Cowboys opened the season against two uh, forgive me for this, but two bad teams. I mean, the Giants and the Cowboys game looked pretty bad. And the Jets were a Zach Wilson led Jets teams. They're but I mean, a pedestrian Cardinals defense put up a monster day in the first half against the Giants, and should have been taken advantage of the whole game. But the Cowboys defense has looked very good, as has their offense, but the offense has been set up in short field position. The defense has faced a lackluster Giants team, a Zach Wilson who may go down as one of the worst busts in recent memory at quarterback. I mean, he was number 2 pick and is fucking terrible. They need to face better teams. He's what?
He's leading the league in interceptions already.
And he played.
Just wanted to say that.
Yeah. I mean, he did play 2 full games, but because Rodgers went out like the second play of the game, but leading the league in interceptions, he will likely lead the entire season while he's there. The Jets need to bring in somebody else at quarterback, because with the talent that they have there, they should be putting up numbers against any team. Doesn't matter who you are. The Dallas Cowboys are not the 85 Bears. They're not one of the best defenses to be out there. And there are certainly defenses in this league that are just as good, if not better. So I think it's just more of a product of the teams they've played. And I want to see them play better teams before we can say that they're a title front runner. Yes, they look like a serious playoff contender and they might contend for a Super Bowl, but slow your roll a little bit there and wait to see them face some real competition.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb looked nasty, 143 yards, but he was not being covered by Sauce Gardner.
He wasn't.
So
he wasn't. And I don't know if that was like a scheme specifically set up by the Cowboys to have him off of Sauce Gardner, like how the Dolphins always have Tyreek Hill in motion so that he gets a running start on like every play, and kind of takes him away from the other team's top corner, or if it was just Sauce Gardner staying on his side and CeeDee was on the other. But the only play that Sauce was on CeeDee resulted in a pass defended. So I do think they just need to slow their roll a little bit. Yeah, it is exciting. They've looked really good, but they face 2 bad teams. I mean, I hope
struggling New York teams.
2 struggling New York teams, not 2 bad teams, but 2 struggling for different reasons, but 2 struggling teams.
Yeah, Micah Parsons looked really good. Garrett Wilson looks like he'll be good even with the
Micah Parsons always looks good.
Yes, always. Yeah. He's a beast.
Yeah.
The Cowboys were missing Tyler Smith and Brandon Cooks for this game, so I mean they did do really good even without those 2 guys. But yeah, let's slow the rules. Did you want to talk about Jets QB options here, or?
Yeah, let's talk about those. I know you're pretty high on one guy who used to be with the Bucks and is now a man behind Derek Carr on the Saints. So why don't you talk a little bit? You've had a little bit more insights there.
Dude, Jameis Winston, I think, is a starting quarterback in this league. He should have been starting last year. He got hurt. He had a back injury. Andy Dalton took over, and for some reason they didn't ever go back to Jameis Winston, even though Andy Dalton only looked like Andy Dalton. I think the Saints could have done a lot better. But yeah, Jameis Winston, you know, he can make big throws. He has a cannon of an arm, one of the best in the league. And since he got to the Saints and learned under Sean Payton and behind Drew Brees, he seemed to have learned how to control the ball and read defenses a little better. You know, back with the Bucks, he had that 30 touchdown, 30 interception year, which it showed his skills and limitations. But yeah, since he got in the Saints, he hasn't been throwing interceptions like that anymore. So I think he's a guy that the Jets, if the Jets want to make a solid playoff push and not have a failed season, I think Jameis Winston is the guy that they should be looking at trying to acquire. And I don't think the Saints would necessarily give up I don't think the Jets would have to give up a lot necessarily to get him because he's a backup over there. They've already moved on, and they did draft a quarterback too that they like. So I think they could get him with like maybe like a fifth round pick, something like that. The Saints
Yeah,
will
and
push it up because they know they need him, but
it's not like the Saints are with a quarterback too that has health concerns. They're not sitting back there with a guy that's often injured. Derek Carr has been pretty durable throughout his career. So
yeah.
playing in an environment too in New Orleans where there's not going to be anything with the elements he has to worry about, that's pretty big. But I like Jameis Winston as a quarterback option there. The man can sling the football. He's a really
Yes.
fun player to watch, and he put up massive numbers with the Buccaneers in terms of having Godwin and Evans produce like both wide receiver ones. He put up a lot of interceptions, but to your point, he has learned to take care of the ball a little better since being in New Orleans. And sometimes it takes being behind somebody like Drew Brees to show you what you should be doing at quarterback. And that'd be really exciting there. I think he'd do a lot of things with that offense. And another guy I'd like is one that you mentioned earlier, Gardner Minshew. I mean, I'm a huge Minshew fan. I think he's a really fun player, and I would love to see him in an environment like that. You know, he would get amped up for every single game.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, he would.
The Jet Stadium would be rocking with him.
Oh yeah, dude. You'd see so many people rocking mustaches and mullets just to go along with the Minshew mania that is. But he would soon become like a cult hero in New York City,
Yeah.
in Jersey if
Gotham.
he took over. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. I don't think they're gonna dive into like aged out veterans who are no longer in the league, like the Matt Ryan's.
Yeah.
He's a commentator now, and he's working in
Basically
that
retired.
aspect. And yeah, he's basically retired, and you're not going to get too much from those guys. I know Tom Brady came to the Bucks when he was 40 and won a Super Bowl, but Matt Ryan's not Tom Brady. So
No, he is not.
and even last year, Tom Brady didn't look great when he was with the Bucks. So the Tom Brady narrative needs to end as well. He's doing his thing. These guys are not going to get it over the top here this year if they came back. You need somebody that can compete with that roster and gel with the young guys there.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick question. I just thought of this. They call the Jets like they call that Gotham, right? When they're playing. Would that make Aaron Rodgers Batman and Zach Wilson in turn Robin?
It could. It
Is that
could.
why
He's a bit I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a bit mysterious, kind of like Batman. I imagine Batman probably would be an anti-vaxxer.
Swing?
Something that he got with the League of Shadows, that he found some type of medicine there with them. But I could see it. I could see it going into
I can see Rodgers as Bruce Wayne.
I can see it.
That's something that animated show should really do. I don't know. What's
Gridiron
that called?
Heights?
Gridiron Heights. That would be perfect for Gridiron Heights.
For anyone who does not know what Gridiron Heights is, it is a channel on Bleacher Report that is absolutely hysterical. They're like, 30-second clips, and they're so funny.
Yeah, they're very short.
They're amazing.
Hilarious. On YouTube.
If there was a full season, full show of that, I would watch it.
I would too. It's great. It's always hilarious.
They also do a basketball version for Game of Zones, a parody of Game of Thrones, and that also is hysterical.
Yeah. Do you got anything else for the Jets, or you want to push to Sunday night?
I don't think so. I don't think the Jets aren't going to be very good despite their defense. The defense can only do so much. It can try to keep them in some games, but if the offense keeps putting the defense in bad positions, then they can't really win them much. But until they get a new quarterback, Jets aren't going anywhere. It's another lost season.
Yeah, I agree. We named a couple there. There's plenty of other options, but yeah, let's push. Sunday Night Football, the Dolphins went into Foxborough, took on the Pats. The Dolphins have been kind of owning this matchup lately, even since Tom Brady was there. The Dolphins took this one again, 24-17. It was a bit of a fun game. I liked it. I enjoyed it. The Dolphins, they weren't quite as explosive as last week. The Pats are very good at taking away your number one option. So Tyreek Hill did do not nearly as good as last year. He was like okay out there. He was like a normal receiver out there instead. But they found Raheem Mostert. His name's Raheem, right? I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
they found Raheem
yeah.
Mostert off for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, Other than that, like, yeah, Waddle had a concussion. That wasn't fun. Mike McDaniels is probably my favorite head coach in the league. He's always doing just hilarious things. He had a little moment where after they were talking about the game, he just randomly like decided to sprint to the locker like he was
Showed
a
off the
player or
speed.
something.
He's pretty
Showing off
quick.
the speed. It was funny. He is quick. He's quick. He's probably
Yeah.
the youngest head coach in the league. I'm not sure about that, but I think he might be. But
There are some pretty
yeah,
young ones.
the
I mean, Sirianni's young. McDermott's not old. He's pretty young, I think, and McVay's young. There's some pretty young coaches. You're definitely seeing a new trend and kind of a new era of head coaches in the league.
yeah. Since McVay got hired, pretty much, Mike McDaniel's looks like the youngest, at least acts
Yeah,
like the youngest. How about that?
yeah, he does act like the youngest. I
I
mean,
don't have too
Demeco
much.
Ryans was recently a player, so I mean, he's pretty young.
That's true. That's true. I don't have too much to say about the Pats. They lost Marcus Jones to an injury. Their DB room is missing a couple guys. Jonathan Jones missed the game. Their offense looked okay, I guess. They looked better than last year, at least. Do you have anything about in this game?
Not really. I mean, the Pats defense looks pretty good. They did slow down a
They
really good
do. They do.
offense with the Dolphins, and they just couldn't hold up with Miami. They don't have the offense to hang with them, and you can't stop their offense. You can only hope to slow it enough for you to beat their defense. And the
Yeah.
Pats aren't there offensively. They, like you said, they are better than they were last year. Mike O'Brien, I think, has them performing pretty well, a lot better than people expected, especially in the passing game. Rejuvenated Hunter Henry, which I really thought that Mike Gesicki would be the guy to own there as a tight end, but apparently Hunter Henry is. So that offense looks capable. But the 1-2 punch for Miami is just really good. They have a run identity now too, so expect big games for them, and really just no down games. They're a fun team, young team, and they should be here to stay.
Yeah. A couple of teams with playoff aspirations. Patriots fall to 0-2 after this one, so they're hoping to get back next week. But let's push
But
to
with the
Carolina.
Jets QB controversy there, or carousel,
Yes.
that opens things up a little bit for the Pats. So the Jets, unless they change things up, they're not going to contend in that division, and the Pats could take that number 3 and make a wild card push.
Yeah, that's a good point. I saw a meme where Belichick it talked about Belichick making the trade. Fuck. I can't remember what it
The
was now.
offensive lineman,
Well,
yeah, the trade for the offensive lineman where he blocked the trade for
that
the
got
Jets,
Rodgers hurt,
to get,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like Belichick playing chess while everyone's playing checkers out here. He's like sipping orange juice.
Yeah, he truly is like the
Yeah.
evil empire in Star Wars. He's
Yeah.
just like he's sitting back there just methodically taking people out.
Yeah, he's the Lex Luthor to Aaron Rodgers' Batman. But
Wrong,
but
wrong comic there, but
let's move to oh my god, that was Superman. How embarrassing.
yeah, he'd be
He's
like
like
the
he's not the
Joker,
joke.
but he's not a Joker. That'd be more like a Mike McDaniel's.
Yeah. I don't know, whatever. Let's move
Yeah.
to the Panthers game. The Saints headed into Carolina, and this was a better game than I thought. I thought the Saints were kind of gonna just come in and wreck the Panthers, but the Panthers came in and their defense kind of showed up a little bit. That they proved to be a solid match for the Saints, and the Saints did pull it off in the end though, 20-17. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, not too much. I think despite the score, the Saints really controlled the game. The Panthers really didn't do too much until the end of the game. Um,
Yeah.
but they did make a push there at the end, and Bryce Young looked a little bit more competent there. But in the second half, I will say it was pretty funny. There was a play where he lined up on his right guard instead of on the center, and Miles
Poor guy.
Sanders like looked at him and looked at the line and like just kind of gave him a shove over and was like, "What are you doing?" But that was pretty funny. It just shows like the struggles of a rookie quarterback, and he obviously knows where to line up, but he just wasn't thinking or got a little
Got the
flustered there at
jitters.
the end of the game. So yeah,
Yeah, both of the defense looked like they're solid, not like amazing, but pretty solid. So they could keep them in games this year. The Saints, one thing to note, Jamal Williams did get hurt in this game. So next week they're down Kamara with the suspension. They might be down
Andre
Jamal
Miller.
Williams now. Yeah. Um, they did have Tony Jones from the practice squad came in and scored 2 touchdowns, but yeah, they're hoping that the rookie can come in and make it in this game, and maybe he can show up and be a guy. We'll see. He's got an opportunity, and Taysom Hill also had some
He
nice
led the
plays
team
in
in
this
rushing.
one. He's their
Yeah.
gadget. He's still, even after Sean Payton, the believer, left, he's still getting some traction there. So
Yeah.
that's
I
fun.
mean,
And they tried to get Michael Thomas going a little bit too.
so I think like for a running back with them, obviously once Kamara comes back, he's the guy. But
Yeah,
I don't think Tony Jones is going to get a bulk of the carries. I think it's going to be Miller going into the next game.
I agree.
Miller didn't play last game, so if Miller played, he would have been active and higher on the depth chart. He would have came in and been the number one once Williams went down. But I think it's going to be Miller. He'll get a game where you can see what he's doing and what he's made of, and he was really good at TCU, so he should be a good offensive threat.
Yeah, they're definitely hoping he can play. Let's push to the last game of the week. The Browns went to Pittsburgh, and they put on a good show. It was like a couple good teams with some bad quarterback play. Basically, is how this turned out. The Steelers did up taking it in the end, 26-22. The big news from this one, though, Nick Chubb going down. Really bad injury. They wouldn't even show the replay. He's out for the season.
Yeah.
What do you got on this one, man? That's
Yeah,
just
that's
really
terrible.
sad.
I mean, he's one of the best players in the league, arguably the best running back in the league, and he really is the identity of that offense. And without him there, they struggled. I mean, the Ford did put up some numbers. Granted, I don't expect him to really do that going forward, especially now that the Browns are likely going to come to a 1-year agreement with Kareem Hunt. Hunt is familiar with the team. He's familiar with the offense. So you might see him come in and immediately have a role. There's not really a learning curve there that you have to worry about. And this was a good game. It was an entertaining game. It was sloppy for sure. I think Pickett definitely has a lot of room to grow. The Pickens connection was real. It was solid. So without Deontay Johnson, he still was able to produce with Pickens there. But there aren't really any other options. Robinson wasn't involved. Freiermuth wasn't involved at all. Najee Harris was out-touched by Warren. I don't know if he was out-touched, but he was out-produced for sure. In terms of like a per run yardage. And the big thing for me was Deshaun Watson had a lot of turnovers, a lot of really bad timely turnovers that resulted in 2 of them in touchdowns. So, I mean, the Pitt defense was filthy this day. They had 6 sacks, 2 touchdowns, 4 turnovers in total. And the big thing from there is TJ Watt became the all-time sack leader for the Steelers, which is crazy because he's only 20,
past James
28?
Harrison.
Yeah, he's 28, right?
Yeah,
so he's not even 30 and he's their all-time leader.
It's crazy. He's so good. Watson's still questionable. He made some bad plays, like you said. Pickett. There's just a couple teams that are like a quarterback away from being like a playoff contender, basically. If either of these two can figure it out, maybe they'll be okay. And Jerome Ford, he did do good, but one thing to note is that a lot of that came off of one really good 70-yard run. So, like you said, he might not be really good next year. Just watch out for that.
Right. He might not be really good for the rest of the season. I mean, with Kareem Hunt coming, Kareem Hunt he's a very good running back. He should have been on a team and he wasn't. So we'll see what Kareem looks like in that offense.
Yeah, but that wraps up the week for us here. So do you got anything else for any of these teams or for any of the viewers to say?
Nothing else in terms of the viewers. Dre, you did lose this week. So I did beat you for the tally. It was pretty close though.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was.
a one. It was a 1 game difference. We both improved from last week. You were 10-6, and I was 11-5 this week. So far cry from my 6-10 last week, and much better for me. But I think next time you got to come with a an L on your forehead or something. Rock an Eagles jersey maybe.
Yeah,
Rock a Texas
I
Longhorns
don't have an
hat.
Eagles jersey to rock. I don't have one of those either, and I'm not buying one. But I'll wear an L probably. I'll get
Yeah,
Kaya. Maybe she can figure something out to embarrass me. She'll have fun doing that.
there you go.
But yeah, our game of the week, our matchup of the week, I forgot. Yeah, Browns Steelers. You took that one. In my defense, Nick Chubb did go down in this one, so I think I might have won that if he didn't.
Can't
But
say
yeah,
either way.
that's
Yeah. Woulda, shoulda,
that's it for
coulda.
us.
You can't ride on hypotheticals. So,
Yeah,
uh,
you're right. You're right. You're right. I'll wear the L. I will wear the L. But that wraps it up for us here. If you liked what you see, like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like what you see, at least comment. Tell us that we suck. I don't know, whatever. But where can everybody find us, Fred?
yeah, you can obviously catch us on YouTube, or you can catch us wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on most services, and head over to our Instagram channel, the Flea Flicker Show, and get daily fantasy advice on what to do this week to win your league. So separate you from your league mates.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff on there. So at least give us a little follow. But that's it. Peace out. Thanks for watching us, Flea Bags. We'll see you next time.
Later.